Look at these beautiful illustrations of a cactus plant. A cactus is found in the desert or a dry habitat. It's green and is spiky or spiny. Some of them even have flowers. Today we're going to create a pot by starting in the middle of the paper. So what we'll start with is a long smile line. And I say smile because it looks like a long curve of a smiley face. Right underneath it, you're matching the exact same curve or smiley face line. This is for the top of the pot. On the sides of these two lines, attach two slanted matching lines. Next, we're going to create the side of your pot. So draw two long, diagonal, slanted lines that match on both sides. Come almost all the way down to the bottom of your paper, and then create the bottom of your pot by matching the curve of your smiley lines. Now at the top, starting at the corners here, draw two curves that curve upwards, and that represents the top of the pot that your cactus will be in. Then draw one long horizontal line towards the bottom of your pot. And this is the table that your pot is sitting on. So if you want it perfectly straight, you could always take a ruler or a straight edge and make it perfectly horizontal, but you could also do that freehand. Now we're going to draw three basic shapes. Starting in the middle of our pot, draw this round oval. That's the first basic shape. Now the second shape is going to be a curve that curves up and comes down and stops at the top of our first shape. Then we're going to make this longer curved line that comes all the way up almost to the top of your paper and comes all the way down and stops. So those are the three basic shapes that we'll start with for our cactus plant. Now create a little bit of a wavy line on the sides to represent the dirt that our plant is sitting in. So there's two little wavy lines right on the sides. Now we're going to attach some smaller curves to represent the even smaller parts of our cactus. And make sure you erase inside the shape because it is overlapping and it's in the front of the shape behind it. Now I'm going to draw a circle here, and notice I'm going right on top of my two shapes. That's okay because I'm going to erase inside the circle because this shape is in front of the other two shapes. Now, what I'm doing is drawing smaller bumps or smaller curves to represent the smaller parts of the cactus that's coming up. So that's a smaller curve, and this is going to be a medium-sized curve, so it's a little bit bigger. And then this one's going to be the largest curve. It's going to come up almost to the top of the paper and come back down. Just like that. And I'm going to connect even a little small curve here and an even smaller curve here. And I'm just adding these curves where I have space. So if you have more or less curves, it's okay. It's still going to look like a cactus. Now inside this circle, this is a flower. So make a little small circle in the middle of that, and then the petals touch the outer edge of your circle. It's kind of like a football shape. And then you go in between each petal and just make these little arrows pointing outwards so that you have lots of different petals coming out of that flower. And then you can erase the circle, the original circle, because that was just a template or a shape that you could follow so that your petals will be sort of in this circular way. And there we have it. The cactus is blooming with one little flower right there. How cute. Now we're going to do a flower here on the side of the top here, wherever you have space. I'm going to do a half of a flower this time. So again, I do my circle in the center, and then my petals all touch the half circle. And then I can put my little arrow shapes in between each petal so it looks like a full flower. And then you can erase the circle template that you drew. You don't need that guideline. And then we have 2 flowers on our cactus. Now, each part of the cactus will have lines going through it. So start at the first shape that we drew, and then you're just following the curve on one side and then following the same curve on the other side and breaking up that shape into little sections. You see that? So each one, this is the next one, you're going to draw a line that follows the curve of the shape. So notice that I'm not putting too many lines, just breaking up each part of the cactus into segments. So maybe 3 or 4 lines on each cactus shape would be enough. See, this one's only going to get 2. That's okay, because it's a small shape. This one, I think I might put 3 or 4. See that? 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So continue to draw your lines that go right through each shape. On these lines are where the spines stick out of the cactus, or the little spiky, sharp, pointy parts of the cactus. They come out of these lines. So take your time. And do the best you can. Okay. Now around the top of your pot, I just want you to round out these corners. So what I'm doing is I'm making like what looks like a straw that goes around the whole top of the pot. It curves around the sides of the top of the pot. Just makes your pot look a little more 3D. Take it or leave it. Try it out. Just looks like a straw that curves around the top of your pot. And then you could take your eraser and just erase inside the straw or the top there. Clean it up a little bit. Okay, we're going to make a lot of designs on our pot. This is really up to you how you want to break up the pot into a design. The way I'm doing it, you could do it this way, where you see I'm just following the curve and I'm adding 2 or 3 lines here. Because in each section, I want to put a design. So on the top part, I think I'm going to do these triangles. And I'm just going to repeat this shape over and over. And if I repeat this shape, then I'm creating a pattern. So any shape that you repeat over and over will create a pattern. So you see how I'm just doing this zigzag up and down or triangle pattern? You could do any shape you like. It could be circles or ovals or rectangles. It's up to you. In this next section, I'm just going to make some vertical lines to make the little square shape pattern. And I think I'll repeat this square pattern by adding vertical lines to the next section. So now I have lots of squares, don't I? And again, you can do it your way. We're just adding designs to the pot. For this next section, I'm just going to repeat the zigzag pattern or the triangles. They go up and down, all the way across. And for my last section, I think I'll repeat my square pattern. So I'm just going to draw these vertical lines to finish off the layout of my pot design. Okay, now we're going to create the spikes that come out of these lines. Because you know, the cactus has these spiny spikes that come out. So I'm going to start with this long shape, and you can make what looks like this little V. Looks like a little V on top of the line, the letter V. Or they could just be single diagonal lines that come out and spike out. So notice on the left, my spines or my spikes are pointing towards the left, especially on the outside here. If I'm on the left side, I make all these little spiky, pointy, little doodads coming off the left side, and then I do the same thing on the right side. So there's no right or wrong. See, mine are all different shapes and sizes. They're just little spikes coming off. And there's my cactus. Now on the rest of these, just repeat the letter X. That's right. It's the letter X over and over, repeating the letter X on top of all those lines. So just go ahead and repeat that letter X until you have all of your lines covered with X's. Now, let's create some detail inside the pattern. So I'm going to take slanted diagonal lines and go one way and then the opposite way in each square. So I'm slanting to the left, and then I'm going to slant to the right, and voila, detail. I'm going to do that same diagonal line pattern on the bottom. So I'm going one way and then the opposite way with my diagonal lines. Now inside here, I'm going to do a V, the letter V, large, medium, and small. And then 2 slanted lines. So it's a large V, a medium V, a small V, and 2 slanted lines. Large, medium, small, 2 slants, large, medium, small, 2 slants, large, medium, small, 2 slants. And then on those sides, I'll just draw some slanted lines to finish that pattern. The others I'll leave alone. Now, I'm going to take masking tape and make a frame around this picture. I'm going to tape it down, and that way when we pull the tape off, you will have a clean white frame. This also will hold your paper down when we start to paint. So I like to start with the background, which is all this negative white space that is around your cactus and the pot. So I'm going to use blue and purple, and I'm going to go ahead and let the blue and purple blend together naturally. Make sure you use a lot of water, and you can use any color you like for the background, but I wouldn't use green because our cactus plant is green, and you don't want the cactus plant to disappear or blend in with the background. So I'm using blue and purple, and I'm just switching from purple to blue, from purple to blue, until I have carefully painted all around the cactus plant. You're going to do this all the way to the horizontal line towards the bottom of your paper. Take yellow watercolor, and we're going to use green later, but start with yellow first. Paint over all of your cactus plants with yellow first. And then we'll add the green a little bit later. And make sure your background is dry, so that way you're not getting your arm into the background. So let's start the bottom, the table. Now your table can be any color. I'm going to make my table brown. Inside the pot is soil, which we'll paint brown. So under this wavy line at the bottom of your cactus plant, paint in brown. And this represents the dirt that your plant is sitting in. So be careful that you're not painting the top lip of your pot. You're just painting the soil or the dirt on the inside. You can also mix black. So it's a mixture of black and brown for your soil. Also paint the middle of your two flowers black. Little bit of black right in the middle of your two flowers. Now we're going to change to markers. I'm going to start to very carefully color in the triangle pattern of my pot. I'm going to repeat this color in every other triangle to create a color pattern. But feel free to use whatever colors you like for your pattern. Continue my pink triangle pattern throughout my design. A lime green, and I'm going to continue my triangle pattern by putting green in between every pink triangle. to add color pattern. So I'm using orange in every other square. And I'm coloring right on top of those diagonal lines. And we'll detail that later. Finished with the markers. I'm going to use red now in the last part of my design, and I'm going to just color right on top of this V pattern every other square with red, and then I think I'll do green again. Finally, the last part is this tube or this straw shape that's curling around the lip of your pot. Color it whatever color you like. I'm going to use orange. Now that the yellow is dry, take the green watercolor and let's start adding green right on top of the yellow. This will create a lime color. Use a napkin or a paper towel to dab it, dab it, dab it. When you dab through the middle, it's going to make the outer edges of the cactus look like it's a little darker. And then the center of each cactus piece will be a little bit lighter. And you can even just go around the edges of the shape with the green. Just go around the edges and leave the middle with the yellow. And then take your napkin and dab it, dab it, dab it. So that way the green blends in with the yellow and it gives it this three-dimensional quality. black crayon or a black marker, and we are going to outline all of the details inside the cactus. That's all of these long lines that break the cactus up into sections, and then all of the X's and spines. I want you to outline with your black. Whew, my hand was getting tired. Now take any color and outline your flower petals with marker. Then take water and put water inside the white part, and it will blend with the marker. And it will look like a light color, a lighter color from the outline. For more detail, we can outline all of the design inside the pot. So all of these diagonal slanted lines, I'm outlining with black marker, but you can use crayon, colored pencil, or anything you have at home to create these details. Finally, we're almost finished. This is so satisfying to peel off the masking tape and look at this beautiful white frame that you're left with. It's done, and it is gorgeous. You could give this as a gift for Mother's Day. Have a great weekend, everyone. And don't forget to post your work on Google Classroom.